Hello everybody and welcome back to the Alolan Clasher. In today's video, we're going to be profiling a new deck for the post-rotation, which if some of you don't know, it's going to be from Breakthrough on to Burning Shadows and on from that. So this is going to be post-rotation Metagross, as I think as a deck is going to be very strong. It's going to counter one of the new hyped archetypes from Guardians Rising, which is Gardevoir. And it has the weakness build on it, and I also think Metagross is just very good at being tanky, and it can take some big knockouts. So, first, we're going to start off with 4 Beldum. These are all the Guardians Rising ones. I'm not sure. I think these are the only Beldums in the format. But, yeah, we have to play 4 Beldum. They have an attack. You really don't want to use it. It's called Core Beam. Discard a Metal Energy from this Pokemon. It's 20. I mean, I've used it in some games. It's okay. I mean, you discard an energy, which helps Metagross if you can get a rare candy, and you can Geotech it back, which is okay. But I mean, it's not something you want to be using. Next up is its evolved version, which is Metane. We're playing 2 copies of Metane because we play rare candy. And Metane has 2 attacks. You don't want to be using them either. Ram, which is 20, and Corbing, which is actually the name of the same attack from the Beldum, which discards a metal energy, but you just do not want to be using this. I feel horrible if you have to use this. You should not be using that attack unless you're extremely stuck. Now here is our star of the deck. We play 4 copies of him, which is Metagross GX. So here's Metagross. He has an ability called Geotech System. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may attach a Psychic or a Metal Energy card from your discard pile to your active Pokemon. And this ability does stack, which means you can, if you have multiple Metagrosses in the field, you can use both the ability on each Metagross. So let's say I have an ability in the active Metagross over here, and I have these 3 bench Metagrosses, and I have some energy in the discard pile. I can use the Geotech to add 3 up to 4 energy onto that active Metagross. And what we're going to do is the goal of this deck is to get all your Metagrosses out, or at least 3 of them out, is to have 3 energy on it, or in the discard pile, and use Geotech, and then you go use its attack, which we'll go over now. It's called Giga Hammer, which is 150. And your Pokemon can attack next turn. Well, this Pokemon can. So we can retreat, get those energy back into the discard pile, send out a new one, and attach them with the Geotechs. And it's just, that's how we do endless things. It's Metagross is just cycles, and it's very good. And also, Giga Hammer, if you attach a Choice Band, it's doing 180, which is a really nice number to hit for, because you're hitting knockouts on Drampas, as you guys can see after the video stopped. So yeah, so it hits good numbers on Drampas, also Tauros GX, and finally you guys get to see one of the cards I pulled for my Burning Shadows pre-release, Darkrai GX, which also does have 180, and you're going to be seeing a lot of play in that card. I definitely think it's going to be really good, so I'll definitely go over, do a pre-release video. It may already be out by the time this video comes out. I don't know schedule, but yeah. So that's definitely a cool pre-release pull. So that's how you basically use Metagross. And so, sometimes we need Pokemon to help us get set up. So we always play 2 Alolan Vulpix, which is now allow us to use the Beacon attack. To search out our deck for up to 2 Pokemon and reveal them and put it into our hand. Then we shuffle our deck, which just lets us get our Metanes. Metagross is out if we have rare candies in our hand. We can use them. It's kind of really good. So now for our second to last Pokemon, we have Tapu Lele GX. As you guys can see, right there has an Energy Drive attack and the Wonder Drag ability. So, let's go over this card and what's going to do for the deck. So, obviously, the ability, Wonder Tags and allow us to search for supporters. That's kind of what Lele's in all decks for. But this deck has a special purpose for Lele. you can use all of its attacks. Because Energy Drive does 20 damage to the amount of energies due to both active Pokemon. And we can use Geotech to power this attack up. 2 turns of Geotech and 4 energies each. That's 8 energies on there, which means 1 is 60 damage. And that's if your opponent doesn't have any energy on it, which is really good. And also, we're playing 2 copies of Psychic Energy in this deck. As you guys can see right here. And so that allows us to use Tapu Cure GX, which allows us to heal all damage from 2 of our bench Pokemon. So let's say someone hits like Metagross is for 180 damage, and he's about to get knocked out next turn. We don't have any energy to retreat. We just Max Potion. And Max Potion is going to help us get all the energy off our Metagross, and so we can put it in the discard pile and use Geotech. It's just such a very cool idea. So our last Pokemon is 1 copy of Mimikyu. Mimikyu is from Guardians Rising, and we're mostly going to be using the attack Copycat. If your opponent's Pokemon uses an attack that isn't a GX attack during the last turn, use it as this attack. And also, since we play Psychic Energy, we can use this one. So this is like a really awesome way to get a quick attack off. Let's say our Metagross isn't charged up. We can use a Mimikyu to hit something and knock out the Metagross for game. And also, we're hitting Psychic weakness. So if there's something like Mega Mewtwo that just it's not in Metagross range, maybe Copycat might be. Next is the supporters. We're playing 3 copies of Professor Sycamore. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards. That's pretty standard. It's going to help us get draw into what we need. Playing 2 copies of N. N is going to let us shuffle our hand into our deck so we don't have to lose everything. Now, most people play 3 copies of N, but I opt for a 2 copies of N and Hala. Hala is shuffle your hand into your deck. If you use your GX attack, draw 7 cards, if not 4 cards. And I actually forgot to talk about Metagross's GX attack, which is Algorithm GX, which is really good. This is how Hala and Metagross kind of work together. So Algorithm GX, search your deck for up to 5 cards and put them into your hand. And that's like something you can do really early. All you need is 1 energy of any type. And you attach it on, you can get all the cards you need to get all your Metagrosses set up. But then, you've already used your GX attack. So that means you draw 7 cards, which I think is really good. And playing one of it, it's like if you have a Hala or Professor Sycamore, unless you want to get rid of your stuff, like if you have energy in there and you want to get rid of it, then you can use Professor Sycamore. But if you have some stuff you want to keep, you just play Hala or N. I think that's the way you should go with it. Next up, we play 3 copies of Bridget. Bridget lets us search for 3 basic Pokemon, and it's really good to get the turn 1 Bridget for the 3 Beldums. I'm gonna say this over and over again. Do it. It's the most important thing about this deck. You do not want to miss Bridget. It's very important. So that's why I play 3 of it, because there's no VS Seeker, and you really just want to run into it. And yeah, I might take 1 out, but at least 2 is really important to play. Because we only played 1 Lele. If I had another Lele in here, I would play 2 of it. And we're also playing 2 copies of Pokemon Ranger. Pokemon Ranger just removes all effects of each player of attacks on his and her Pokemon. That means with Giga Hammer, since we can't attack next turn, that's an effect. Which means if we play Pokemon Ranger, we can attack next turn. Which means we don't have to retreat. Maybe if someone has ability locked down, we can just play a Ranger and knock them out again. Which is really good, and also helps take some late prizes. Especially when you don't have as many energy in the discard pile. Next for supporters, we have 2 copies of Skyla, which lets us search for any trainer card. Most of the time you're using this for searching for a rare candy or an Ultra Ball, so that way you can get, Metagross is up in the field. Or sometimes it might be for the next turn Lysander, or something really important that you need the next turn. Because sometimes you can't play 2 supporters, but you can grab a supporter. And finally on our list, from the new Burning Shadows set, we play 3 copies of Guzma. I got a lot of packs at Burning Shadows, and I got these Guzmas, and I was really happy. So Guzma, switch one of your opponent's active Pokemon with their Pokemon. If you do, switch their Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So it's your bench Pokemon with one of your actives. Which means, it's okay for Metagross. Let's say if you have 2 Metagrosses set up, it's really good. Because that way, let's say you already use Giga Hammer, you can't attack this turn. Wait, I need to Lysander out that Dramp on the bench. It has 180. My bench Metagross has all the energy and a choice band on it. Let's do Guzma. Oh, what a game, you know? So Guzma can be beneficial. It's the new Lysander, though. I love the art on Guzma, by the way. He looks so boss. He's like, Team Skull, yeah, Team Skull. But yeah, I think Guzma's gonna be really cool. He was really cool in the games. I wish they gave him more, like, I don't know. I think they might give Guzma, like, I want to see a Luciman card with Guzma in the back. Anyhow, back to the deck. 3 Ultra Balls. That means get any Pokemon we want. Lele's, Metagrosses, Mimikyu's. Mimikyu. But yeah, if those of you who don't know, Mimikyu is my favorite Pokemon. I love Mimikyu. He's awesome. He's very good in the VGC too. He just sits there and he attacks and he attacks. This card's pretty sad actually, if you didn't notice. There's a substitute in the back right here. It's cool though. So anyhow, so we play 3 Ultra Balls. Play 4 copies of Choice Band. So there's 3. 1 fell, I'm sorry. So yeah. 4 copies of Choice Band. This is just letting us hit that 180 number, and we need to hit it as much as possible. So we're playing 4 of them. And it's really good because we don't need to hit 150. Will knock out anything, almost anything, not GX or EX. And the Choice Band's helping us. And so we don't play Kukui though. I opt out of it, to be honest. Kukui's like, I don't know. I don't like Kukui because the only thing we really need to hit knockout, like really immediately, would be Espeons, and we can just do that with Mimikyu's. Copycat, just maybe if you use Psybeam, we can hit it with Choice Band, it'll be fine. Or he use a better attack, so it'll be cool. So then we actually play 4 copies of Rare Candy. This allows our Beldums to evolve into Metagrosses right away, and it's really important for this deck to have this card, or it wouldn't work. And it got reprinted in Sun and Moon. I think the last print was in Primal Clash. As you guys can see, yeah, Primal Clash. So it needed a reprint because I think Pokemon's going in the direction of Stage 2 decks right now, and it's really helping. Rare Candy is really important of Stage 2 decks. Field Blower. Choose up to 2 in any combination of Pokemon Tool cards and Stadium cards in play, and discard them. This can help us get away those float stones on the Garbodor, shutting down our abilities because we need abilities. And this is also just going to float stone away Choice Bands that might be knocking us out. So speaking of abilities, what's really good about this deck is when rotation happens, Hex Maniac will be rotated out, which means you have to play Garb or there's no ability lock, which means Metagross players can be relaxed a lot more, and I like it. Next we have 3 copies of Max Potion. I was talking about this card earlier. This heals all damage for one of our Pokemon, and then we discard the energy. So there's 2 uses for this. Let's say Metagross is really damaged. We need to get all the energy off of it. Well, and we also need to get all the energy off of it. Well, it's a double use card. You discard all the energy, and you also heal the damage. And you can just Geotech it back. It's very important. And also, when you retreat something to the bench, what I normally do is I will retreat it and Geotech it. I'll retreat, and all the energy moving in the discard pile, Geotech to the active, then I'll play the Max Potion, because then I don't have to discard any energy. It never says that there has to be any energy on that Pokemon, which is really good. And just once you retreat, just Max Potion so they can't Lysander it out, or Guzma it out. So yeah. Next we play 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher. This just lets us get 1 Pokemon for a discard pile back into our hand. So let's say we have a Beldum on the bench, and we have a Rare Candy in hand. Just use that 1 so we can get the Metagross back or something, but sometimes we just shuffle 3 back. It's important. If we have like maybe a Bridget, all 3 of them are in there. So Beldums are in there, you know. It has multiple uses, and that's why it's really good. For our last item card, it's going to be Heavy Ball. But just search your deck with a Pokemon member with a treat cost of 3 or more, reveal it and put it into your hand. Metagross and Metane both have a treat cost of 3 or more. So that's letting us basically search out our Metagrosses. And for our stadium count, we're only playing 1, and that's all for this soon. Fire and Metal Pokemon both have no weakness. This card's only strictly for the Volcanion matchup. It's really important that you play this in the I mean, they can Field Blower it away. It's just I play in my local league. There's a lot of Volcanion players, so I'm really trying to make sure that, you know, I can have a counter towards it, and my Metagross deck can be, you know, win a couple games. That's just my answer towards it. I mean, there is weakness policy, but you need the choice band. The weakness policy was reprinted in Burning Shadows. Sorry guys, back at here at the Ultra the Sun. I was just saying that this is my answer, and you guys can change it up for another Ultra Ball if you really want. Now, lastly, for our energy count, we play 8 copies of Steel Energy. So just trust me, I don't want to put them all out because the camera can't see everything. And 2 copies of Psychic Energy for the Tapu Cure, for the Mimikyu, and everything else. So that's it for the deck list. I really think that since the format's losing Hex, Metagross is going to be really, really strong. And it's going to help a lot of decks. It's going to be a really big counter in a lot of decks. I just don't think a lot of people see it yet. And I'm really excited to play it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.